Hello, 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 beautiful people, and welcome back to our Layoff to Lift Off series here on LinkedIn Live and on YouTube. We're so excited that you're back here with us. I'm Leah C. Murphy, and as always, we're going to take this ride together. There are a couple things I need to make sure that I share before we get into all of the details, because this series has gotten a lot of engagement. We are almost double the views on than our previous series. So that means that we're saying something that matters to people. I'm saying something that matters to people, and I kind of had a feeling that that would happen, but I'm thrilled. I'm really, really excited that you all are here and you're taking the time to be able to participate in this series, navigate what may be for you or maybe for someone else in your circle who needs this information. So welcome to all of those who've been riding with me for a while, and welcome to everybody who is joining me for the first time. I appreciate you being here. Let me make sure that I get my housekeeping out of the way. As you guys can see on the screen here, we have our announcement for the Career and Care Summit. Now, I have to be so calm when I say this because I get thrilled. The Career and Care Summit is our second annual event. We had a phenomenal time last year at the Career and Care Summit, and we are doing it again in March of 2026. And I say last year like it was such a long time ago. It was actually March of 25. So let me just tell you what to expect. The Career and Care Summit is a cultivated in-person event for professional women who are navigating career and life at the same time. And that's so many of us. We wanted to bring together what we thought was a really gap, a white space. We wanted to bring together the career development and professional development, the networking, all of the things that go along with helping you to point to your version of success professionally, as well as the care side, which is a holistic approach to making sure that all your needs are met. We will talk about everything from menopause all the way through to mammograms. We're going to cover networking and relationship building, and we're going to also go deep and hear from women who are navigating the life changes, the second act of life, just like many of us are. And we're going to make sure that we are enriched when we come away from this experience. We have sponsors that have already started to sign on that we'll be making announcements about throughout the month of September and October. I am holding back sincere joy and excitement, and we've already started to sell tickets. So take advantage of this opportunity to grab your early bird tickets. They're available now. You can use the QR code that you see on the screen to grab your tickets. It'll take you over to a seamless ticket buying experience, and you will be locked in at the early bird ticket rate, which you know how early bird ticket rates go. It's going to go up later in the month, later in the year, I should say. So we want to make sure that you take advantage of this opportunity and grab your early bird tickets now to the Career and Care Summit, which will be March 21st, 2026 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, right with our partner at the Community College of Philadelphia. So I'm really excited for the opportunity to bring it back. You know that if it's coming back for a round two, round one had to be phenomenal. So we're looking forward to seeing you there in person. Do not delay. Grab your ticket today before the early bird tickets sell out, because once they're gone, they're gone. Now, getting to the topic of today, which is building your bounce back brand as we're thinking about our Layoff to Lift Off series. So what I really want to remind us of here is you are not a one-dimensional individual. We are humans in a broad three-dimensional form, and there are different ways that we are going to need to give ourselves acknowledgement, to take good care of ourselves in order for us to show up in our professional life, in our professional experiences, so in a way that feels true to us, that feels good, and that allows us to bounce back from a layoff or a separation from an organization. So if you're with me live, go ahead and drop your city in the chat. That will help me to know who is riding with us and who is taking this opportunity to be with us live. And as you guys know, I've said this before, the replay is doing amazing things. We're seeing the numbers really go crazy on the replay. So I'm excited for that, because that means that you all are taking this with you where you go, and you're sharing and distributing to others who can benefit from this. And that's really the goal. So as we think about building your bounce back brand, that comes down to a number of categories, but we're going to focus on only 3 areas. We're going to talk about your resume, right? Which is kind of the table stakes. Everybody knows you need your resume updated when you're looking for a new opportunity. Your LinkedIn, but the thing that I think is the most important, and the third thing, is your self-talk. So your resume, your LinkedIn, and your self-talk as you're navigating building your bounce back brand. So when we think about our layoff to lift off, we're really going to get into talking about the things that carried over from the last time we were together. So we talked about the healing and the confidence and the need to really see yourself as a valuable asset so that others will also see that in you, and to deal with the feelings that you're navigating as somebody who may be separated from an organization, gotten laid off, some kind of restructuring, whatever it was that caused you to be on the job search. We want to make sure that you have the resources that you need in order to be successful. So we talked about the feeling side of it. And as humans, we have to acknowledge that. That's just a self-awareness must have. Bringing your awareness to, I'm going to feel some kind of way. And that's okay. Once I get to the point where I feel some kind of way and I'm ready to take action, now it's time for how we're going to show up in the world again. So a study that we did here at Gems for the Journey, and we talked about this last week, but I'm going to keep repeating it because it's so important. 70% of people have been laid off or experienced underemployment at some point in their career. 70% of people have been laid off or experienced some form of underemployment sometime in their career. So that's really to say that you're not alone in navigating this. It's not the most talked about, it's not well discussed. And that's why I wanted to bring it to the table so that you have a resource that has real and tangible evidence-based information that can help you navigate this transition period that you're in. Also, as someone who has navigated being separated from an organization, that's me. I am you. I have navigated this myself, and I want to make sure that you get the support that you need and the support that I wish I would have had when I was navigating these transitions myself. So we talked about the rise of layoff communities and how these digital spaces are reshaping how we bounce back. So today we're going to go a little bit deeper. And according to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the average tenure of a job for Gen Z is about 2.8 years. And new entrants to the job market are going to make 10 to 14 transitions during their career. So new entrants to the job market are going to experience change at a velocity that is going to continue to grow. And some of that is going to be change that they opt into, and some of it is going to be change as a result of organizations making choices and compelling that change. So even if you're not new to the job market and you have a longer experience, you're more in the mid-career or a senior career level, it just gives you a sense that the job market that exists in 2025 is one that is unique. It is one that requires intention and strategy. And it's one that requires us to be really honest about what we're up against and what the potential opportunities could be. So this episode is all about branding yourself after layoff, and that's on paper as well as online. So the biggest part we talked about is the self-talk, because that's branding yourself in your own head. And I'm navigating right now this with a number of clients and some of my friends, people in my personal network. So we'll walk through how to rebuild your resume, your LinkedIn profile, and your narrative with the support of community. So if you've ever started to think about, I need to get my resume together and I'm going through post-layoff, where do I start? Sometimes it can feel like you're staring at a blank piece of paper and you don't even know the person who you're talking about on your resume. So where do you start? You're not alone. So the bounce back looks like, how do you present yourself on your resume to a world after a professional disruption or a separation? And it's not about pretending the layoff didn't happen. I'm going to say that again. It's not about pretending the layoff didn't happen. It's about focusing on your value, highlighting your momentum and your capabilities, skills, networks, the things that you can bring to your next opportunity, and aligning your next opportunity, not just with your last job title, but what your future potential has. So we've heard it a ton of times before. Your brand is what people say about you when you're not in the room. It should answer, what problem do I solve? How do I make things better? How am I an asset to the organization that I am interested in giving my time to? So that starts internally. If your self-talk is, I got laid off, I must not be good enough, then unfortunately, you will not show up in a way that allows other people to see your value and potential. You will show up in a way that allows people to see only the parts of you that really need an overhaul. And I don't think that that is all that you have to offer. I believe that a layoff or a separation from a company is a blip on the radar for your total career. And I believe that there's a lot of growth and opportunity that you can still experience. So I don't want us to set ourselves up to believe that we have nothing to offer. Because when we believe we have nothing to offer, that's how we show up in interviews, in networking opportunities, in conversations that are coffee chats that have the potential for us to be able to grow as a result of. So we want to make sure that our self-talk and our personal brand are connected, that we're talking to ourselves about how valuable of an asset we are, what we have to bring to the table, how much of a benefit the company that chooses to bring us on will be able to see. And we also understand that we're starting with our resume. So it always cracks me up when people focus on your resume being essentially an obituary to your last job. All of the things that I used to do, all the things that I did at one point in time. I don't think about your resume as an obituary of your last job or all the things that you've done in the past. It really should serve as a marketing tool for what's next for you in your career. It should ultimately serve as the first thing that walks in the room that says, I am who I am and I have something of value to offer an organization. Now I just need to figure out the right organization and the right table to be at in order to let them know what I have to offer. And your resume can do that for you. So here's how community can help you to build your resume. I've seen so many phenomenal examples in these layoff communities where there are peer feedback loops. These are groups where people are reviewing each other's resume. Now, as somebody who is a professional career coach, I work with executives in career coaching on a consistent basis. I am absolutely here from you for you getting peer feedback for your resume, or you absolutely reaching out to a coach or some kind of professional to help you get resume feedback. Both are phenomenal options. I don't want you to feel stuck in not having any feedback from other people when you're trying to make updates to your resume. Bonus points if you get feedback from someone on your resume who is a hiring manager or who leads the team right now. Because we want the feedback to be grounded in evidence, things that people know in the 2025 job market, not feedback or engagement or information that may be old and not applicable to what we're doing now. So whether it's a Google Doc with a comment thread that people can drop their comments in, and then you can go back, collect all those comments and make updates, or there may be free resume clinics or co-working sessions. I'm here for all of it. The thing that I think people really need to hear about their resume, and this is a gem, so if you're with me live, grab your pen, is we have to make sure that our resume aligns to the keywords of job descriptions. We had great conversations with recruiters on the Career Jumps for the Journey podcast, and you can go over and take advantage of those when you're done with this live. But the key in order to get past these digital applicant tracking systems, which are driven by robots, they're driven by AI, is your resume has to align with keywords in the job description in order for you to get past that first line of defense, which is the applicant tracking system. So look at the job description that you're trying to apply for, that you're interested in, identify those keywords, drop those into a word count software, drop those into whatever AI tool you choose, and get it to let you know what the keywords for that job description is. If you do that and update your resume to include phrases, terms from that job description, it will increase your likelihood of being successful in getting past the applicant tracking system so that you can get into a phone screen or in front of a person. So as you're thinking about those keywords, the second thing that I want you to do is really lead with your accomplishments or your achievements, not your duties. So don't focus on, I managed a team of 5. Focus on you led a transformation. Focus on you increased productivity. Focus on you reduced waste. Focus on the things that you actually achieved in the role that you would be able to bring to another organization who's going to see values in those accomplishments. So if you have to, in your discussion, include layoff context if it's relevant. And if you have been out of work for a longer window of time and it looks like a gap in employment on your resume, that is happening more frequently than not. So it's not something that always needs to be explained, but there is a time where you may need to give some explanation as to why you got separated from an organization. The key here is to be really transparent and to be honest about how your role may have been impacted, whether it was a restructuring, whether it was an acquisition, whether a merger happened, whatever that thing is. Have an answer for why you got separated from the organization, and keep it cute. Keep it as brief and succinct as possible. You don't need to go into detail about your manager or any of the specifics. We know that there's a backstory, but as you're preparing for your bounce back, the backstory is a lower priority. We just want to make sure that we're being transparent and giving a real answer as to what separated you from the organization. And because it's so common in the economy that we're navigating now, that people are getting separated from organizations, it's almost just a part of the conversation. But you do need to have an answer. So don't be surprised if someone asks you the questions. Be prepared for that. So don't undersell what you've done since the layoff is our number 3. If you got separated from an organization and in the time that you've been off, you have taken courses, you've gotten certifications, you're volunteering, you're supporting another organization as a fractional leader, or you're doing project work, you focus on gigs or short contracts as a consultant, let them know. Include that in your resume. Those are still valuable skills and attributes, especially if you can parlay it into explaining how you improved your leadership or you've taken on new skills from these certifications, projects, or gig work. If you've joined a board of a nonprofit and you're leading a strategy or leading a transition plan for that board, those roles are very applicable that you can talk about in your resume experience as well as in your interview. So when we think about the next thing, you have to think about your digital handshake. What's your digital footprint looking like now? So for most folks, it focuses on your LinkedIn profile. Now, there are other platforms that you can also put your resume and put your career information on. But for the sake of this discussion, we're going to talk about LinkedIn. Because for many hiring managers, it is a tool that is often used. It's the first impression that you're making digitally. So we don't want to fumble that. So as we think about where community can play a huge role in your LinkedIn, community is one of the places where these digital layoff communities are existing. So people in layoff groups may be able to offer you headline suggestions. They may be able to offer you boosting in your comments and your visibility and your likes as you are making posts tied to your subject matter expertise, or you may be making posts that are giving you an opportunity to really platform your skills and your capabilities, or your networking events, or maybe you're posting about your conference experience as you're trying to build these new relationships. Your layoff groups or your small community, friends and family can help to drive engagement to your posts, which will increase your visibility. Don't be afraid to ask the people that you're in community with to comment, to like your post so that it drives more visibility and it can help you get in front of the right people. So sometimes you may even see folks hosting LinkedIn audits where members can turn their profiles into feedback mechanisms, and you can use other people's LinkedIn profiles as inspiration. I continually use my LinkedIn profile to fine tune and to turn the screws on what I want to present myself as from a digital footprint as I'm thinking about attracting new clients, as I'm thinking about collaborating with other coaches or other small business owners. So it's normal to make an update to your LinkedIn as things change in your professional life. So let's think about your optimization checklist on LinkedIn. The first one is around your headline. Be clear and confident in your headline. If you want to transform your headline to be more eye-catching, think about an example of creative designer, web designer who's ready to build next generational experiences. Think about what it is you do and what you're really good at and where you would like to apply that skill inside of an organization. So be really honest about that. The about section really can be a story, not a bio. So tell a story about who you are, what drives you, and what you're looking for. That gives folks an opportunity to think more about not just the title that you've done or the last role that you were in, but more about who you are and how you can add value to the organization, because that can be completely agnostic of a title. We want it to be focused on your skills, your competencies, your networks, your subject matter expertise, all the relationships that you can bring to the table. And giving folks a little bit of backstory on you can really help them to illuminate and say, I have a role inside of my organization. It doesn't necessarily match the title of their last role, but it's worth having a conversation. So then I get the question often, should I put open to work up on my LinkedIn profile? And ultimately, that's a personal decision. I think open to work is a clear indicator from a recruiter standpoint that they should reach out and it's worthwhile for you to be connected with them. So use it, take advantage of it. There's absolutely no shame in that. But if you decide that you don't want to put open to work up on your profile, that's okay too. I would encourage you then to be very active in the background for intentionally reaching out to individuals that you want to be attracted to your LinkedIn profile. Open to work tells the algorithm and tells the LinkedIn data in the background that this person may be looking for a certain kind of opportunities. It may drive other resources your way. So if you don't take advantage of it, it just requires you to be a more active participant in using the platform and reaching out to people, in posting and commenting on others' posts in order to drive attraction and to drive attention to your profile. So use open to work if you're comfortable. If you don't use it, go out of your way to make sure that you have a clear strategy to drive people back to your page so that more people will find out that you're open to work and you're looking for opportunities. So here's a bonus. Share career in transition. So if you're thinking about navigating what's next for you, to be honest, that their transition is happening is honestly what I'm seeing a lot all over the platform. Folks will say something like, after an incredible number of years at this company, I'm exploring what's next. I'm open to roles in X or Y industry where I can add value in this specific way. If you know there are opportunities that we should meet, please connect with me or comment for reach, or feel free to repost. So you really stepping out there and giving folks an opportunity to support you in your search is really where this lives and really where the greatest potential lies. So being honest that you're in transition and that you are looking for what's next, it's refreshing in one way. And I understand it can be completely terrifying in another way. So remember, we're working to destigmatize being separated from organizations. That's what we're doing over here at Career Jumps for the Journey. And that's what I see happening in the market more broadly, because separations to organizations have just become more of a commonplace. So these posts about the transition get hundreds of comments. Some people may comment just for reach. Some people may comment resources. I've even seen people drop job postings or job listings in the comment section of the looking for new opportunities post. So most of us want to help. Most of these platforms can be used for their highest and best use on social media, and LinkedIn is social media. And the highest and best use is for us to draw and share resources with one another from a community forum standpoint. But folks just need to know. They need to know how to help you and what you're looking for. So your narrative becomes your superpower, because here's the truth. Your resume and LinkedIn can only land you the opportunity. Your story, your authentic self, the way you show up is what seals the deal. Or the version of yourself that needs to show up in order to nail that interview needs to seal the deal. And I said that for clarification because we're still navigating feelings and frustration and exhaustion and just disappointment when we are navigating layoff experiences. And that's real. But we still have to figure out what we're going to do in order to show up well for that interview. So even if we're doing the work to turn it on so that we can get that interview, have the right conversation, leave the right impression, we understand that that's kind of a part of navigating professional spaces. So when you're talking about your layoff and you're talking about being separated from an organization, especially if it was a surprise to you and it wasn't something that you initiated, you could talk about it from the place of, here's what I learned from the experience. Here's the type of people that I was able to be exposed to. Here's how I've grown. Here's what I'm excited about next. So framing up your layoff in a narrative that this is a new opportunity that I am hoping to transition into something that I'm even more excited about really is a self-talk coming out to be able to be shown to others. It's a self-talk of, this is my experience. It's unique to me. It's my journey, but I'm on it and I am here for what's happening and what's coming next. So there's a script that you can use as you're thinking about talking to people and to navigate networking conversations, whether that's at conferences or professional organizations, because you know that I'm a big fan of the micro networking experiences, using one-on-one interactions in person as well as virtual to be able to let people know that you're looking for new experiences, as well as swing the pendulum to broader digital networking and relationship building on all of the platforms. So when you're explaining and when you're talking about your transition, make sure that it gives you some space to be able to claim the successes that you had within that organization and why it was a good experience. Then you're thinking about, what do I need help with? I need help with leads. I need help with new opportunities. I need help with networking and building bridges. And it's great to have target companies or target organizations that you're looking at for your next role or opportunity, because then that gives somebody something tangible to go and help you focus on. I know someone at that company. I know someone in that organization, or I know someone who has mentioned that they're also looking, and maybe you all could strategize together. When we're honest and we're transparent about what we're navigating in a professional way, obviously, we want to keep it cute. When we're honest about it, it gives other folks a chance to help us in finding what we're looking for next. When we're not honest and we hold back and we don't inform those who are in our network or those who are broadly connected to us of what we need, there's no way that they can help you. And that's just the reality. So when we think about bouncing back, leveraging every asset we have at our disposal, be it in person, be it digital, be it an extension of our personal network, take advantage of all of those things, because oftentimes people will say yes, but you have to ask the question. So even if you think about a script of, I've been reconnecting with folks in other organizations to let them know that I'm in transition, I've been separated from my organization, and I am going deep on my strengths and where I can grow, but I'm also really clear on what value I can bring to the organization. Do you have some time to talk through that with me? That's a great prompt or practice conversation that you can use and that other people will be able to relate to. Because being as specific as possible with your ask will allow more people to say yes. When it's a broad idea of, hey, I'm looking for a job, anything will do, that's very hard for people to take action on. But when it's targeted and it's specific, and I'm looking for a new opportunity in this function at this level, and these are the companies or the types of organizations or even the industry that I've experienced in, do you know someone who can help me move in that direction? Or maybe do you know a hiring manager? That's a different conversation that actually allows people to help you and to get into action. So let's be clear. Your brand is not about being perfect. It's about being really intentional, being clear, and being honest about what is true to you. So we want you to have what you need to navigate this transition to go from layoff to liftoff, because we know that great opportunities are still out there. It's going to take more time and it's going to take very clear intention in order to get to those places. So tag someone who's currently rebuilding their brand, or tag someone who is really in the midst of just getting a role that they've accepted as they're bouncing back from a layoff. Those kinds of stories, those kinds of reminders are always going to be helpful for those who are in the midst of navigating right now. So on the next episode, we're going to get tactical. We're going to talk about how layoff groups are helping each other land jobs, give referrals, and really practice on the interview front, because the referrals are very much tangible. They're a valuable asset that in the past may not have been as necessary when we were applying generally on platforms. But internal referrals are the lifeblood of great opportunities to be able to skip past some of the applicant tracking systems or the online application process. Referrals are the new thing. They are a retro classic that are now coming back to benefit those who are looking for new opportunities. So the underground job market is a real thing because it's thriving only if you know, you know. And that's the reality of networking and building relationships is if you know, you know, and if you don't, you don't. The referrals are really the new currency that can really transform a job search. So I appreciate you riding with me this long. Grab your tickets to the Career and Care Summit now. Take advantage of that early bird pricing before it changes. And until next time, make your journey work for you, and I'll see you on the other side.